Welcome back to the channel. It's my first video back since my dad passed. We're not sure how I'm going to do this video, but I'm going to try to get through it. So I had to escape for a night to get out, and it's such a very clear night that all the stars are out, and I'm so glad it is. I need to get out and do this. I need to recenter myself, but I do want to start this video off by saying thank you to a lot of you out there. So many people, you know, made comments on my YouTube channel and TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, sent me messages and emails when they learned about my dad passing. And some of you suggested doing a video tribute to him, and that's not the type of person he was. He was always one that wanted to work behind the scenes, and he did that for a lot of his life. And I learned a few things that I didn't know about my dad, you know, at his wake. So my dad grew up during the Great Depression and World War II, and so, you know, the preparedness videos that I do, I get a lot of it from him, because that's how he grew up. He grew up and always was being self-reliant. You know, that was one of his things, was to be self-reliant, be community-oriented. Like I say, one of the things that I've learned at the wake was I had my dad worked with a lot of the farmers in our area, and I found out, and I'm not surprised by it, that one of the ladies, an older lady, you know, in her late 80s, she came up and she told me a story about Dad, that he was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning so he could be to their farm at 4 to milk their cows and do the feedings and all the stuff that needed to go with the morning chores. And then he would go from their farm to his job, where he would work most of the day, leave an hour early so he could go back to their farm and do the evening milking and chores, because her husband had cancer. The farmer had cancer, and my dad was there to make sure that the farm kept running and make sure that they kept an income. Now, I knew my dad did a lot of things behind the scenes for a lot of people and organizations, but those were the stories that I heard at his wake about what he did. And I was young. I was young, so young that I do remember a period of time that my dad was going to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And he was gone by the time I woke up anyways, so, you know, for school. And that's what he was doing. And so he was very community oriented, helping other people, and maybe that's where I got it. My sister's a nurse, so she helps. She's been a nurse for almost 40 years. And, you know, I've been in emergency services for 34 years. Oh, Jesus. 34 years. But it is 91 years is what he put in. That's what he got. That's pretty goddamn good. If I make it to 91, I'll be surprised. But he I'm glad that when he retired, that he got to do some of the things that he wanted to do in life. He wanted to be able to travel a little bit. And him and Ma, got a motorhome and they traveled, I do believe, all the Canadian provinces, including the Yukon Territory, and 49 of the 50 states. And he used to say that the only reason he didn't get to the 50th is because he can't drive there. But he led a good life, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he used to brag pretty hardly that up until the day he died, he never took any medications. He didn't have any pills that he took. He would just tell you that he cut sugar out of his life over 40 years ago, and used pure maple syrup or honey for sweetening, and a nip of brandy before you go to bed. It cures what ails you, is what he said. So, I don't think I'll ever be half the guy he was. And spent all those years in emergency services, I've seen a lot of people die. Kids. Those are the worst calls. I can tell you my worst night ever. My most. And it will stick with you. My biggest failure as a fireman was August 24th, 1999, when I couldn't get 2 kids out of a house fire. That was my biggest failure as a firefighter. And that will stick with you. To this date, I still remember everything like it was last night. But eventually your parents are going to die. You know that. But you're never prepared for it. As much as I've seen death in this world, I've seen many ways to die. And the one thing that I'm glad about is that, he was 91, never spent one day in a nursing home, and never spent 1 hour in a nursing home. But it's a crazy thing, He commonly joked that he didn't want to linger around where other people were wiping his ass, and he didn't. Up until about an hour before he died, he was talking. He would open his eyes and look around and talk to us. And my sister, she lives down south. It took her a while to get here, but she got here on a 1:15, and he died at 4:15. So he waited for her to get here. There's no doubt about it. She talked to him. But when he was aware of what was going on, because when the doc came in and asked him, he was adamant. He was a DNR, do not resuscitate, and no mechanical means to keep him alive. And he was adamant about that. And when they told him that without the mechanical means they weren't going to be able to save him, and he's like, okay. And she asked him, she says, are you nervous? And he goes, nope. She goes, are you scared? And he goes, nope. It's the type of guy he was. All this camping stuff that I do, I got a lot of it from him. I can remember when we used to go out with the old Montgomery Ward canvas tent that my mom and dad bought at Montgomery Ward's. I can remember when going out and all that stuff, and I probably, Jesus, 6-7 years old when we were on a camping trip with a canoe, my brother, and I can't even remember the river we were going down. I can just remember the event where we're going down the river and we could start to hear thunder. And my dad said the next clearing we're pulling off. And we got out of the canoe on this, it was a rocky embankment, small rocks, and we pulled the canoe up and took all the gear out and put it there, and he said, get down, my brother and I, and he took the canoe and flipped it over and brought it down on top of us. And then he sat there and he said, well, might as well listen to the storm pass. And we laid underneath that canoe for, I don't know, 40 minutes probably. Thunder and lightning and rain. Then it passed. We flipped the canoe back over, loaded it back up, and was on our way. So probably a lot of this camping stuff that I do, I get from him. I mean, I've been ice fishing with him, fishing, canoeing, hunting. He's a big hunter. Big hunter. And he liked big outdoorsman. He up until, you know, he's 91, almost up until the day he died, he was cutting his own wood. Most of it. Had a hard time starting a chainsaw, but he would find a way. Oh, and the MacGyver stuff that he did, oh Jesus. You know, like I said, he grew up during the Great Depression and the World War II, so you didn't throw anything away, and you had to make do with what you had. And the things that I've heard him say over the years, the little sayings, make do with what you have, be happy with what you have. I can remember, God, I must have been in 3rd grade, that I had a kid that was picking on me. And I can remember coming home and telling him about this kid. And he says, you know how you make them stop? He says, right to the nose. He goes, nowhere else, nose. He goes, you hurt their nose, they'll back off. And he'll think twice about picking on you after that. He goes, you may get in trouble. You're gonna have to handle those consequences, but he'll stop it after that. Worked. I worry now about my mom, but she's a tough old girl too, so you won't deter her very easily. But so this summer is going to be a little less adventurous than the rest, I think. I want to get out and do this stuff, but then I worry about getting too far away from my mom right now. So that's why I'm truck camping tonight. I didn't bring the RV. I just decided that I'm going to head out and for a night. Such a clear night. Gorgeous night. But I came out here tonight. Nice day. Nice sunny day. I came out here tonight and all I wanted was a nice clear night. A nice quiet night. To sit out here by a fire. Just sit here. growing up, there was never any beer or liquor in the house. I guess that was, he wanted to set an example for us kids, he always talked about being financially responsible, being responsible for your actions, being there when on other people's bad days. But it wasn't until he retired, and after he was done traveling, him and Ma traveled for a couple of years there in the motorhome. And the guy next door, Carl, retired. That all of a sudden, Coors Lights started to appear in the fridge. And I can remember I was opening the fridge one day, and I'm like, well, whose are these? And Mom said that, your father bought them because him and Carl will have an afternoon beer in the backyard. Carl died a couple of years ago. He was another good guy. So this, when I was out at the house, I grabbed this out the fridge just for tonight. So I'm going to have a beer with my dad one last time tonight. And that's where this is going to end, right here. I'll see you in the morning. Morning. I don't think it's the morning the weatherman called for. I'm pretty sure the weatherman said it was supposed to be sunny today with a high of 68. And we've got a lot of cloud cover on the mountain over there today. But I'm gonna get my coffee made up. While that's perking, I'm going to start packing up. But I'm glad I had a good night and my last beer with my dad. So next week the adventure returns. I'll see you there. Alright folks, you watched all the way through. Thanks for that. If you liked the video, make sure to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button down below. Continue to follow the adventure. And remember folks, tomorrow is no guarantee for any one of us. So disconnect from that Wi-Fi, connect to this out here. You won't be disappointed.